Yeah, I think you're right. That's gonna take time to, yeah, just be okay with internally, and then that to come out externally to other people. Like, I think if you felt like you've had to hide yourself, or people outing you has been a scary thing ever, it is definitely something that you're gonna have to get used to. And I think, like we said, it's something that you're gonna have to work through and determine for yourself. Like, yeah, why is it that being gay feels bad to me?
Hmm.
Right? What about it feels bad? Why does that feel bad? And just kind of unpacking that, because gosh, everybody's experience is so different. And so I think it's honestly a little bit hard for me, I think, to even speak from any kind of perspective about this, just because my experience feels so different than this. Um, but yeah, if you have anything else to add to that, because I really don't I don't think I do. I haven't felt this way, and I wonder too if it's, I've heard this a lot from, or this, a similar thing to this from people that are gay and then also um express themselves as men, or anybody that identifies as a man.
Hmm.
And I wonder if that plays into, or I mean, it could just be the, the layers of, like you said, praying the gay away. It could just
Yeah.
be like religion playing a piece into this. It could be sexuality, gender, any kind of that spectrum playing a piece too. But any other thoughts?
I think that's really interesting that you bring up I mean, first, thank you for acknowledging, like, oh, hey, that's not my journey. I think I kind of assumed, I mean, that was mine, that was most people's case with it. Like, of course, you have this sense of this is wrong or bad. So I appreciate you saying that. I also really appreciated the aspect of I noticed this more in men. And I'm sitting here thinking about maybe why that is. And I think it comes back to the fact that a lot of people just hate women. And let me tell you
Yes.
what I mean by that is that as a boy, anything you did, it wasn't just that it was gay, in my opinion. When I look back at the things
Mm,
that I did, if I was drawing or singing or whatever it was feminine, And I think maybe that's why it is so more so. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in women. It has to, but I think there is a hypersensitivity that is ingrained into men to not be feminine because
hmm.
feminine could make you look gay. And what are we really saying there, right? Like
That
it's
feminine
bad to
people
be
suck,
feminine.
which is
Yeah,
terrible, or that they're weak, or
right. And that's a bad thing to be as a boy. So don't do that, especially. So it's kind of
yeah.
like hitting both of those aspects. So it makes sense to me then that boys are more vulnerable to that, I don't know, call it that insecurity, I suppose. But yeah, I think that is a lot of what it comes down to was the stuff that maybe was going to get you caught for as being gay. It was obviously all labeled wrong, but a lot of it was I'm being feminine. Oh, what I was going to say, I think for girls too, like if a girl was, remember like the term like tomboy,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
You know, oh, like she's a jock, she's cool, she's athletic, all these things. There was a little
Yeah.
more wiggle room. And I'm not at all trying to say it's like easy, it's not at all easier to be a guy. But it's interesting that there is grace given to that because there's wiggle room there because being masculine is good,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I think that's interesting. And I think that's where a lot of that comes from. And maybe for some who their queer identity, cisgender woman at the time,
Hmm.
it was okay to maybe express or flex a bit more masculinity because that's gold standard in society.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here, I suppose.
No, I
But
think
I have
that,
to wonder if that's what that gender difference is.
yeah, no, we've gosh, man, we've come to realize that people really hate females in this
Yeah.
country. Yeah, and I think, like, to me that just, and I know it isn't necessarily like at the core of this question, but I think like we're speaking to gender too, like just trans individuals, people that identify a certain way and then present themselves in maybe that way or a different way. Like, I just wonder how all of that is kind of not embedded, but I guess just like how that's experienced when we talk
Mhm.
about these different types of lenses and the internal and external kind of messages we're getting as people when it comes to gender in this country. I think that's really
Mhm.
interesting. We could probably have a whole other podcast about it, but um yeah, I'd love to have more questions related to gender and things like that, but let's go ahead and move into the next one. Something a little maybe lighter.
Okay.
Not that I don't like the deep stuff, because I love going deep.
No, but the whole
Oh,
country hitting
that's
can be a little bit of a downer, you know.
that sounded bad. Um, but these are important questions, though. I don't want to, make light of it or say that ones are better than others. But um, this next one here is, can friends hook up and remain friends afterwards? And if so, how?
No, no. You kidding?
If you can, let me know how the hell you do that. Like,
No.
how?
In my opinion, if you're doing that, you are just looking to prolong your own suffering and the breakup in general. I think it it's maybe an attempt to ease the flow.
Well, there's no
To
breakup. They're just friends hooking up.
fair enough. Wow, I jumped on that, didn't I?
You're like, they're in a relationship, though.
Okay.
No, technically
So
not.
I guess I thought the question was, can you? Yeah, why did I think that? Just that you break up and can you be friends? What was the question?
Can
Well, we
friends
can have a
hook
separate
up?
podcast on unpacking that.
Yeah,
But
no, let's. Yeah, what do you think? No, can friends hook up and remain friends afterwards? And if so, how?
okay, very different question.
It's so different. Can I answer this one first?
Please.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah,
like,
stop talking.
you're like, they need to break up. But they are friends. And they were roommates. I think first off, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a friendship? Is that possible when you've hooked up with this person? That to me is just a conversation to have, like with that person directly.
Mhm.
And then I know I always say this internal, but you've got to look into, what is it that I'm hoping to get? What am I looking for? What about this person wants me to remain friends with them? Am I attaching some of those fun chemical hookup feelings to this friendship? Can I separate those two things? Do I want to separate? It's just like, I have
Yeah,
so many questions for this person. Like,
I appreciate saying that. It's like just check in with yourself. God
right.
damn, like just ask yourself some damn questions. Why are
Okay,
you
but
out
it's
there doing all
hard.
these things?
It's hard.
It isn't. It isn't. Like it's. I don't think it's taught well, but I think the tendency to just live a life unexamined just blows my mind.
Well,
And
I don't know if that's fair.
that's that dramatic.
Yes, you're being very dramatic.
Just I think
You
you
twirling
just
your curls over there?
I mean you have to check in with yourself and ask yourself, and I get it. I'm biased from the psych background, but just wondering what is behind a behavior. Just start there. Why am I doing what I'm doing? You know, like that doesn't seem like a crazy question to me.
No, it doesn't. But I come from the perspective of, there's a reason you're asking this, and it's probably because you don't want to ask yourself that question. You're like, maybe you're in denial that, like, you might want to be more than friends with this person, or you might not want to,
Right,
or you feel shame or attach any other feeling to that of hooking up with this person, right? Like,
right.
there's a reason you're asking another person if you can do this and how, because it's very confusing for you.
But
There's a
see, now
lot of different emotions going on.
we're,
So,
we're
yes,
back to unexamined.
yes,
So don't bring
but
someone else into this if your ass isn't examined. I just you,
oh, so you're saying you should have thought about this before you hooked up with someone.
yes, or
Okay,
not that you should have, but
not you and your like hookup culture
I,
bullshit
I was gonna
coming
say
out.
this one because I have other things too. This one is gonna lose all my fans, but I just I big
Assuming you
proponent.
have any.
Yeah, I don't have any, but if I was starting to get one, I don't anymore, you know. But I think it just really rips my nips, to be honest, that to bring someone else in and to have to potentially hurt somebody else, and you have not even done the bare minimum work of any sense of introspection. Like, to me, you're not developed enough then to bring other people in and hurt them.
Dear Lord, your nips are ripping, and I get that, but I think
And we all do it. I mean, you're
you're.
gonna make that mistake, but it's to me, it's when it's a pattern of it. It's like,
I know,
hello.
but you're assuming a lot about this person.
Yes. Yes. And this
You're
is not about the
you're
person that asked.
no, it's not. It's about
Yeah.
you right now. Yeah, your nips are being ripped because of
It's
your stuff that you're
it's
bringing
a
into
pet
this
peeve.
question.
It's a pet
Because
peeve.
you just assume that this person has done this many times.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I assume nothing about nobody. What I'm
You
saying,
just did that. You just said if this is like a pattern for you.
if it is, and this is, I'm not, also,
Okay.
maybe I'm not doing this right in this question because I don't know the person. I'm not answering it in that. I'm trying to be more broad.
Well, by being broad, you're being kind of specific.
I'm being a little cunty.
I didn't say it.
I just
I
ask
think
yourself some questions
I
and
think there's
try
some
to
other
limit
stuff coming
try
up
to
for you.
limit the collateral damage. I'm sick of it. I have had so many girlfriends hurt by these stupid boys
Oh, we know.
that just don't ever take a second to be like, what am I doing? Why? And then even the second layer of how could this potentially affect or hurt this person? But it doesn't matter because it feels good, and I'm gonna keep doing it. And it just drives me nuts. And I do think that women are disproportionately impacted by men who, on average, are less introspective, and it drives me insane.
Okay, can you separate? This is gonna be hard for you. Can you put yourself in a position like, say, baby gay,
Sure.
you were hooking up with someone, or you had a friend you were hooking up with, right? And like
Uh-huh.
you wanted to or didn't want to remain friends with them after? Like, what was that like? And what questions could maybe this person ask themselves?
I'm gonna give that one to you. I can't relate.
Simply can't relate.
I really can't.
Because no, I
I'm
think
I'm
this
so
is.
on the other end. I
I
will
know, I
like
know.
it just I can't relate to this at all. And I've just seen a lot of people really hurt by it. And I just think it's as simple as a lot of our other answers. Just if you do a little bit of self-work and think about the other person's dignity and respect, then you're probably going to end up making the decision that's okay.
I think you're. I think a lot is coming up for you. This just comes back to open communication and what it is you're hoping to come out of the hookup, whether it's do I want this to continue as just friends or not? And I think
Mhm.
you have to be so clear about that.
Yeah.
No wishy-washiness, no gray area. You're either now just friends and you have to like, communicate on an ongoing basis because I think you can be friends with someone you've hooked up with previously.
Uh-huh.
I, as a Cancer myself, could never, but I think people can. I just think it takes a lot of communication. I think it takes boundaries. It takes um an understanding of yourself and an understanding of where you're at emotionally and where the other person's at, and then also attempting to know if that's where they're truthfully at. Because I hear a lot of the times from friends or other people like, and I've even done this in previous kind of relationships, quote unquote, is like jumping into friends too quickly and being like, oh, I was not ready for that. And I like destroy myself emotionally. Like,
Uh-huh.
give it time, give it some time and see if, like, is this a friendship I want to continue? And is it okay that we're not hooking up?
I think what it is and why I'm so triggered by this, if I'm just being completely honest,
Okay.
and this is my opinion, but it's also science. And so you cannot separate the
Uh,
feelings and chemicals associated with sex. And I'm not saying it's the onus of everybody to know that. But if you do know, if you have that awareness or why this is even a question in the first place, it's because it's really hard. And
right.
it's hard because you can't separate those things. And so I'm not saying don't have sex. I'm not I'm sex positive,
Don't
whatever.
have sex.
I'm not like,
If you do,
yeah,
you will die.
I'm not saying like sex is a
Don't have
weapon.
sex
Yeah,
standing
exactly.
up.
You're all gonna die. Like, I'm not saying, but you just have to be really careful with it. And I know that is the most conservative I will ever sound, but you just have to be really careful with it
Yeah,
because
I don't
it
disagree with
involves
that.
a lot. It's not, oh gosh, we kind of like crossed a little boundary here. Can we be friends?
Right,
You've opened a lot of feelings and bonding hormones and oxytocin, all these things that
right,
are not even always at the conscious level, but you have. And so to
right.
pretend that that doesn't happen, to me, it's a little on the other end of sex positive. Like I don't think we should just be, throwing our hoo-has everywhere either, because it it
God, what
involves other
generation are you
people.
again? You sounded like
Oh,
a fucking
yeah, you weren't
boomer.
aware. I'm a millennial. But
No, we are.
also, that was really sexist that I was trying to come up with one that was like gender neutral, like not hoo-ha, because obviously assuming it's just the women throwing themselves around, and it's certainly not.
That
I think
was.
it's the opposite.
Thank you
Yeah,
for,
I just want to say that it sounded
yeah,
funny in my mind, and that's why I said it. But throw your dick around, throw your hoo-ha around, stop doing it,
whatever you got down there. We don't care.
or I just treat it like a yellow light. Just yield for a hot second. Think
Mm.
about that it's a big thing and that it could very much and will affect your friendship, whether you want it to or not. It will.
I'm just picturing like every sexual encounter. You're like, yield. Am
I
I
get
ready
on
for
my
this
little,
oxytocin too? I
ma'am,
don't
are
know.
you sure you can handle this oxytocin? But like, yeah, I'm like imagining like a little like traffic stop, like a traffic
Right.
guard, like
Yeah.
on in, no, well, have we thought about oxytocin first? But
Roundabout. Like,
yeah,
are you sure?
hold on. But again, that just goes back to that. Take a fucking second to think before you do things. My God.
Yes, yes, but I think like, gosh, humans are such imperfect
I
beings,
know.
and I feel like things happen and we don't always stop and think about it. And so I think about like, this has already happened, so let's think of it this way. And I think
Yeah,
there's also an understanding of like, we can also internally like, do we want to take it there even? Because we've
right.
gotten ourselves into the situation now
Yeah.
here, but also
So you
we
can answer the
can,
question and then they
yeah.
can talk to me afterwards and I'll be like, and also, how will this influence your decisions in the future?
No,
Then we can,
but no, but I think okay. But I think like yes, I'm answering the question as like it's already happened. But
right.
yes, that's a great thing for someone to be like in the future,
Don't fuck your friend.
take this as a learning opportunity.
Sorry. This is, I'm canceled on this question alone.
Yeah,
We can
no,
move
this
on.
you're not hopefully getting canceled. I think you'll be just fine. But no, I appreciate you saying that you're a little bit triggered by that, and I think it's understandable. There are probably questions in here that are going to trigger me too.
Yeah.
Just not
Thank
that
you
one
very much.
specifically. So we'll pause questions, and I would like to get into after you were just inherently triggered.
Yeah. I know
No,
my publicist has called 5 times. They're like, stop the questions.
oh, like you have a fucking
No, I
publicist.
don't.
Chill. No, I want to get into the type five. So this is a segment on
Like,
Gays
fine.
Anonymous that's type five. I should put in something there like
Hey, fine. Yeah.
type five.
It's the
Uh
Chinese fine. Anyway.
oh, maybe not. But this is a segment that I'm gonna do with guests moving forward, and it's called a type five because comedy, because stand up, because I wish I could do a type five, but I'm gonna do it in this regard. So the type five is
Wait, is there an
five.
origin here to the type 5? I'm missing something?
Have you never heard of like doing a comedic stand up and someone does a type five?
No.
Well, someone's not in the entertainment industry.
Clearly.
Yeah, we get it.
Wait, okay, hold on. What is this?
Are you Googling it right now? Please don't.
Okay, I won't.
I just saw you. I just saw you look over. No, it's basically people say, which it's funny because this might not even be right. This is just what I've heard. I'm acting like I know so much.
Yeah,
Um,
all your stand-up tours.
okay, yeah. Maybe one day we'll see. But it's like basically people tell you that if you want to be a stand-up comedian, you should have a type five ready. It's like 5 minutes where you could get up on stage, give people your best material in 5 minutes, like giving people your everything,
Okay,
give them your
got it.
funniest bits, that kind of thing. A type five.
Like a
So
personal
I
elevator
just
pitch.
right, an elevator pitch, but for your comedy. So
I'm
this
there.
is a so I stole that. This is a type 5, but this is questions for you. And I
Okay.
wanted to call it a type 5 because it's kind of rapid fire, but like, can expand if you want to.
So,
But
like first thing that comes like my
yes,
like
first thing
is
that comes
rapid
in your
fire
head.
responses as well.
Yes, that is what rapid fire means.
Well, it's like, are the questions coming at me fast? And then I get a second.
Just saying them really quickly. Take all the time you need.
It's actually a measure of how quickly you can listen and process. No, I
Oh
see.
my
Okay.
gosh. Question number 1. Coming out in 5 words or less. Like, what was your coming out to you? 5 words or less. It can be funny,
I
it can be
stole
serious.
the show.
I stole the show. Okay.
And that's because when someone came out to me, I was relating to them and said, "Oh my God, me too." And then I've been later told that
uh-huh.
that was making it a bit about me. Fair enough. So I stole the show.
You like outdid them with coming out.
Right.
So you're a
Not
gay
my
man.
intention, of course. Yeah, no, I
Sorry. Very stereotypical. So,
they said
uh,
I'm gay, and I said, "Oh, thanks for telling me," and so am I, because I was not out this time. But anyway,
we're gonna move on. Um, number 2, what was your gay or queer awakening? Was it a maybe a moment you had? Was it a TV movie? Was it music? What was your like awakening, if you had one?
oh yeah, what a question to ask. Because it was Gaston from Beauty and the Beast,
Oh my God, I love that.
and
No
I'm
further
not gonna.
questions.
No, nothing further.
Nothing further. Thank you for letting me know. Number 3,
Yeah.
your biggest queer red flag, like growing up. So like I should have known I was queer LGBTQIA2 plus because this red flag. What were some of those things?
I had my mom hold my feet together in the bathtub so I could be a mermaid. Which it's funny that the last question was also Disney. There's maybe that's the other red flag. I don't know, but yeah, I think just my interests as a kid were more, I guess, feminine. I wanted to be a mermaid. I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
be a merman. I wanted to. I also my mom made me this necklace that was like a shell, like a little mermaid shell that would
Mm-hmm.
capture people's voices, and I'd go around being like, "Give me your voice." Like
Oh wow.
I think
Okay.
I think, and the fact that I didn't come out until my late 20s, anyone listening
Baffling.
would be astounded, and they should
Right.
be. But I think just stuff like that. And
Well,
then
did
I
your
think
mom know? Because I would have imagined if she's holding her kids' feet together to be a mermaid, she would have been like, something's up.
not really. I mean, I don't think it, stunned anyone, either of them. But I think I recall once my mom asking like any like trying to like get a probe of like anyone I was into, and kind of like slipped in like guys for a quick second. I was like, oh, I had no clue. But it was like high school, like any like girls, whatever, like guys.
You can tell me it's okay.
And I was like,
And
and
you were
then,
still
but
like, no.
weirdly, it never came up again. And I've since asked her about that and doesn't recall. But I still remember that. It
It
was
was
interesting.
specifically the necklace, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Like maybe that
Uh,
was like a little a checking. And then when I didn't say, I was like, oh, okay, man, I guess he's not. But
Ariel,
you
Eric,
know,
who are we?
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. All right. Next question in our type 5 is celebrity crush. What's your celebrity
Celebrity,
crush?
like now or like a part of the awakening.
I mean, you could say now. What's your celebrity crush now?
I've
Supposed to be a
always been a Zac
type
Efron
5.
boy.
Oh,
I'm
Zac
sorry.
Efron.
Always have been.
Interesting.
High School Musical Zac Efron specifically.
Oh, okay, with like the flippy hair.
Yeah, and if I have to add another, not that anyone asked, I do
Mhm.
find Nick Jonas very handsome.
Nick Jonas
But
is a good looking guy.
he really is. He really
Even
is.
I can say that
And I'm kind of
objectively.
shocked every time I see him on TV. I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, Nick.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Clocking it. Hey there.
Yeah. But that's
Okay.
about it. Otherwise, I am married to the most sexy, handsome person in the entire world, and I never ever think about celebrities. So that's my answer to that.
Mhm. Okay, got it. Yep. I'll appreciate that little plug in
Yeah.
there. Last question. what does it mean to you to be queer / LGBTQIA2 plus?
It means that I can finally fucking breathe and be myself. I think for me, very specific to me, it just means being me. It took so long to finally acknowledge it, to accept it, to realize it wasn't going nowhere. I wasn't going to all of a sudden become bi one day, which was the dream for a minute, like, oh, the other part will catch up. And then that part of it, though, in accepting, like, no, this is actually who I am. And I love it. And I love being me and what it's allowed and afforded in my life. And I recall the first time I ever like made new friends just being me and gay right out the bat instead of this feeling of like, hey, this is the new me. I know we've been friends, whatever that is. So it just means I now get to show up fundamentally myself, no secrets. There doesn't need to be this big reveal. Just that sense of ease, and not that it's an easy or comfortable thing to be as any, and it's a marginalized group, and I realize, other aspects of my privilege, but it just means I can just show up myself at this
I
point.
love that. I love that. And thank you for answering my type 5. I really love what you said. And I think yeah, I don't know, almost brought a tear to my eye. That's for sure. I'm just I'm happy to know you, happy to have seen this process and you being you, which I think is wonderful and beautiful.
Thanks,
Um
homie.
and so thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for coming
Thank
to
you for
Gaze
having me.
Anonymous, being anonymous, answering some questions, getting a type 5 in, learning
Yeah,
some things along the way,
I
maybe
did.
getting canceled. I don't think so.
Yeah, sorry about the rant.
Hey, things come up. It
You
happens.
know?
Yeah. And I think you said something interesting too about like bisexuality at the end there that I think
Uh-huh.
I would love to like have a whole, because like even from my own experience, I'd love to have a whole just episode on bisexuality because I think it gets a bad rap and it feels like this weird kind of transitional period for people, and I think it is so much its own identity, but I think it um a lot of people tend to kind of gravitate towards that as almost like a safe space at first, or
Mhm.
like a place to get to that feels like a little bit more comfy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just want to say that it's very much know that that's an identity that is holds true for people and is something that you can be in that and that be it.
Mhm.
And not trying to take away your experience from that, but just something that I mean I could again go off and do multiple episodes about that. But anyway, thank you again for coming on.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Of course.
It was great. The questions were good, and it's nice to have this space to talk about these things. It really is.
I'm glad you said that. Appreciate it. Um would love to have you on again to answer some more questions, maybe change up your type 5. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'll have some therapy in between, so can
Perfect.
work on those those rings. But no, I'd love to. I will check my calendar and just totally get back to you. But no, I think that
Yep,
would,
pencil me in.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I would
All
love
right.
to.
Well, this has been Gays Anonymous. Thanks. Bye, everybody.